our goal is to do affordable, energy efficient homes. So, as you said in the introduction, to do green homes without that green premium. I mean, most products that are developed in the green space, unfortunately, they cost more than the products they're replacing. That's not acceptable. I mean, for something to be truly globally applicable and make and be implemented worldwide, it's got to be competitive cost wise. So that's what we're doing. And the way that we're doing it is we developed this really cool panel that replaces just about everything in the traditional structure of building a home or other kinds of structures, right? So this panel is a sandwich panel at the end of the day. It's a structural insulated panel, if you want to get kind of wonky, right? And it's made with an innovative proprietary ceramic facing on both sides, right? And then that is in between that is sandwiched an insulation layer, a rigid insulation layer. So when you put these three things together, you end up with a really, really structural panel that we use to build walls, floors, and roofs. And then we translate that into off-site construction. So meaning we build homes in a factory. And that panel lets us do a lot of cool things. We reduce costs because it's simpler, right? You don't have as many steps. If you can imagine, all the different wood pieces and insulation pieces and siding and drywall and all this stuff that goes into traditional, homes that we're used to seeing. I mean, that's a lot of complexity, and that complexity is costly. We replace it with this one thing, right? So our panel, you just paint the inside. On the outside, you can also just paint it. You don't need to put a bunch of extra layers on it. It saves money. And by doing it in a factory, we're able to really do volume. And this panel, in a factory setting, the other thing that's so cool about it is we can automate without that much cost, right? When you're trying to automate a complex system, it's really expensive. I mean, you have to use a bunch of really, complicated robotics, expensive robotics that sometimes don't work the way you want them to. And so what we're able to do is replace all that complexity with really simple automation. And end up with a bigger impact in terms of volume. So, that's how we get to the affordability part of this. The insulation, to what I said earlier, it's this core that we have. It's uninterrupted. So, in a traditional house that you would build, you've got studs, maybe, every 16 or 24 inches, right? These wood studs that are interrupting the insulation layer. We don't have that. We have an insulation layer all around the envelope of the home that's not broken. So it ends up being kind of like a beer cooler, right? It's insulation all around. It's really, really effective. And that means that we have homes that lose 70 to 90% less energy than a traditional home, right? And so at the end of the day, that not only costs the homeowner less, they have a lower light bill. It reduces CO2 emissions tremendously, right? Because that energy, for the most part, is today still being generated with fossil fuels in one way or another in most of the world. And that energy reduction is really the main impact that most of us have in owning a home. It's not really the building of the home. It's the operating of the home over the 30, 40, 50 years that home is going to be around.